Hey everyone, Captain Amazing here, and today we're going to start a new series called When You Should Farm. So, there are many different farming pathways and different things that you can farm, and there's no right answer. But this gives my insights on when I believe you should farm certain things and what is a good time to farm them and why you should do that. So, I'll give my overall rationale when I think you should do it, and then you can use that to base your farming pathway. So there's no right answer. This is just my opinion. So let me know in the comments what you think of this overall of this series, and if there's any specific farms or characters you want to see. So let's jump into today's, which is Grand Inquisitor and the Inquisitors overall. So let's jump into it. So the purpose of this is to talk about when you should farm either a faction, a team, a legendary, whatever it is. So we're going to talk about specifically Grand Inquisitor, which kind of feeds into Third Sister, also into the other Inquisitor ships, which are Scythe and TIE Interceptor. So when should you farm this farm, the Inquisitor's farm? And there's different layers that you should focus on because the first Inquisitor thing that should hit your account are probably, you probably have some shards with 7th sister, 8th brother, 5th brother, 2nd sister, 9th sister. You probably have some laying around. They're probably like, you probably got some shards, maybe you did the marquees. You just have them here just hanging out. That's totally fine. They are incredibly expensive overall for Chirotech. And a lot of guilds want you to have this farm completed at Riva ready. So R7 with Grand Inquisitor, 7th sister, 8th brother, 5th brother, and 9th sister R7 very early. And I see tons of early to mid-ish to even some late games where they're like farm Riva, farm Riva, farm Riva, farm Inquisitors, and then I see accounts that are like 3-4 million GP saying like, oh, my main farm right now is Inquisitors for my guild. And I'm like, that's so incredibly, like, that hurts your account so much because this farm takes so much Chirotech, and it's even more than a GL if you think about it, because it's 2000 Chirotech for the original 5. It's another 500 for Grand Inquisitor, and then 700 for Third Sister once you get her, which is 3200. That last 7 is fine. It's pretty much the same as a GL. And at that point, you should have your Scythe and TIE Interceptor. And when you have Riva, Scythe, and TIE Interceptor, this farm suddenly becomes amazing. It's an amazing thing to have into your account. I love, honestly, Inquisitors are probably my favorite, one of my favorite teams, if not my favorite one, for especially Conquest. They just like, they can go for so low energy and stamina, and they're just like an amazing team. The core fundamentals of them are, they're just really good. So, but when should you farm this? And I do want to talk a little about my hierarchy of needs as I do this, as I continue to like build upon this series. I'll probably reference this as well. There's some guides. I'll probably have them linked in the description on how this works. But essentially, my core philosophies of building my account was building more foundations into account specialization. And if you can imagine, like, I'm here. I'm still working on the assault battles because I'm working on I need to update this graphic to have like Padawan Obi-Wan or Master Qui-Gon's face in there or something. But we got a new assault battle, so, and that's why I love my hierarchy of needs, is as the game evolves, the core fundamentals of this stays exactly the same. There's no change to it. So essentially, most players, this is the most important part. I'm just going to quickly hash over this because that's not the purpose of this video. But like crystal income, guild income, you have to get it. That's the major thing. First GL, and then assault battles. And you're going to say, well, Captain Amazing, here's Grand Inquisitor's face right there in the assault battles and the foundation. And yes, but there's a bunch of other faces in here as well, right? So you should, and usually, as you can see, the arrows are here. this is the point of what I want to make. I usually say 4 GLs, 2 GL ships, and that's when you should farm the Inquisitors. And you may say like, oh, that sounds like a lot, and it is. But if you weave your big farms and assault battles, then by the time you have 4 GLs, 2 GL ships, you should have all the other assault battles done. You should have Jabba done. You should have JML done. You should have, if you did the Lightspeed bundles, Ray and SLKR. If you didn't, you should have some other things into your account. You should probably have like Profundity and Executor, or Leviathan and Executor, or Leviathan and Profundity, or something along those lines. But you should have the income to be getting first in fleets. You should be doing well in guild. You have 4 GLs, 2 GL ships. You have all the other assault battles, and then at that point you can knock out Grand Inquisitor, because at that point you'll probably be getting close to TIE Interceptor, Scythe, and Riva, and then you can push for Riva as a guild at that point, and it doesn't slow you down. When I farmed this farm, it took me a month and a half to knock out the Inquisitors, and that's all 3200 Chirotech, everything here. It took me a month and a half because I had 4 GLs, 2 GL ships. I had Kyber income. I was getting first in fleets, and I had all the assault battles done, so I was able to finish it without missing a beat. But if you start this super early, you are going to hurt your account overall, because you're going to have Grand Inquisitor. And as much as I love the dude's amazing with the third sister. Like the team with just Grand Inquisitor 7th, 8th, 5th, and 9th is not amazing. They'll do some things for you. I'm not saying they're the worst. If you put the TW Omicrons, like Grand Inquisitor is really good. Like the team isn't horrible. They can beat Qui-Gons for you. I'm sure there's stuff that they can beat. You can throw them on defense, I guess, but they'll get beat by low gear Night Sisters or Riva. Gear 12 Riva is really easy. So there's just like, they have a lot of problems there, and that's why, if you were playing when the Inquisitors were released, they released these 5 characters and they sucked, and everyone's like, I'm not farming them. And then they gave us a bunch of galactic challenges. They gave us a bunch of events where it's like Inquisitors, 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 and they were shoving them down our throats. And then they gave us Grand Inquisitor, and the team still sucked, and everyone was just like, we're not farming this. We don't care how many events you shove down our throats. And then we just continued to ignore them. And then Third Sister came, the Scythe came, TIE Interceptor was there for a while, and all of a sudden this farm became a must farm for endgame players. And then Third Sister became is pretty much like a GL level character. She actually dunks JMK with these current without Datacrons in the mix, like, and usually unless it's a Datacron that has the Padme, then it's probably still going to dunk on JMK. So this is a very, very, very strong team and farm. But if you try to accelerate it faster than when your account is ready for it, you're gonna, yes, you will get, you may not even get CT3 with Grand Inquisitor, because it's a pretty hard assault battle to do, unless you have like really great mods and you follow like Bit Dynasty's guide or something. So you can do that, but you'll at most get challenge tier 3. It's going to take you forever to get that payback, and then you spent more than a 2500 Chirotech, which is more than most GLs, for a team that is pretty luster lacking, especially if you aren't ready with the Scythe and the TIE Interceptor. So there are some caveats. So if you are looking for a Leviathan counter and you have your Scythe shards and you want to farm Grand Inquisitor for that, then that's fine. You can do that, absolutely. Even if you don't have your 2 GL ships, 4 GLs, because you should have a Leviathan counter, hopefully, for GAC. Or if you're about to unlock Third Sister, then yeah, go ahead and farm this team up if you want to, because then you're gonna get the payoff. But if your guild is like, hey, let's farm Third Sister, and you aren't ready for that farm, you don't have your 4 GLs, you don't have your 2 GLs, you don't have pretty much all the other assault battles done, then I would say it may even be worth it to just like find a new guild that is comparable, that's not forcing you to do this farm, that's going to incredibly slow your account down. And even for those bigger guilds, I would say like, hey, take a step back. I know everyone wants Riva, like especially in TW or something, or if you have the Inquisitors done and you all have Riva, that's a pretty scary wall of 50 Third Sisters sitting there. But like, just take a step back and look at like what else can your guild farm. Do you all have Jabba? Do you all have JML? Do you have does your guild mates get first in fleets? Do they have good fleet income? Do you guys have good Battle for Naboo characters farm? Do you have your raids all set? Are you guys farming towards Jedi Knight Cal Kestis or Bo-Katan Mandalore? Like, what overall can improve your guild more? And don't think like Riva Inquisitors, we have to do it like all the guilds are doing it. That's like the first thing you do for Rote is you go straight for Third Sister. Just look at it as a whole. Maybe ask the guild, those who are ready, hey, start farming Inquisitors, and then while everyone else is like building up the foundation of their account, then they can catch up, and then you guys can smoothly improve the guild overall instead of just force feeding Inquisitors down everyone's throat and then everyone just pretty much having because it could, if depending on your chirotech, it could be like months and months and months that you are slowing down the progress overall of your guild with not having it. So that's what I would say. Just be careful with pushing for Riva when you should do it. There's always other options like finding a new guild if you feel you're not ready, but you're going to do it because it doesn't feel good. It's a horrible farm until you get the final payout. And I understand like, hey, some people have to do that initially before you can really farm Third Sister, but make sure that you have good income, that you have your salt battles done, that you have 4 GLs, 2 GL ships, then yeah, absolutely farm Inquisitors, help your guild out, start working towards Riva, get that Scythe TIE Interceptor up and running. I will say with the TIE Interceptor, you don't have to fully invest into Second Sister to get this up and running. To pretty much have it, as long as you have a Gear 12 or Relic TIE Defender, and then you meet all the requirements for prototype design to get that first turn TIE Defender, then all you need to do is have this fully upgraded and this fully prototype type defense fully upgraded, and then you can upgrade these if you want, and then you can have a low gear TIE Interceptor, and it's pretty much 90% functional. So if you were like, well, I have the TIE Interceptor and I need to get my Second Sister up to relics, you don't. You can keep her gear 8 or whatever, just upgrade these 4 abilities down here, and then still good functionality. She has some foresight, she'll survive for a little bit, but the TIE Defender is going to do all the heavy lifting. The TIE Interceptor is just an enabler to get that TIE Defender out, that first turn reinforcement, and then the team works from there. So overall, let me know what you think of this series. I do plan on making other series. I wanted to start out with Inquisitors first, just because this is a huge problem I see with a lot of accounts. But I plan on doing many others like Jabba. I will continue this series. Just let me know what you think in the comments of it. Otherwise, thanks for watching and take care.